Hello, Leanne.
Hi. We're just complaining about the warm weather just before we came on.
The first day of summer, and I am over it.
We're not fans. Sorry to everyone who sun worships, but we like to be a bit cooler, don't we?
100%. I'm not a sun worshipper. No fair. So, podcast episode 3.
Yep.
I don't think we really planned to do it weekly when we came up with the idea. Well,
it was fortnightly, wasn't it? I think it's because we've just. I thought let's do it fortnightly because what if we run out of things to talk about?
Yeah.
And we don't. We just don't run out of things to talk about. That's the problem.
Not at all. It's funny because this week I've been in the office working, so I don't use my phone obviously at all when I'm in the office. But when I'm at home, I'll take a dinner break, or if I'm on a break from work or whatever, I'll obviously speak to Leanne at points through the day. And when I'm in the office, I don't. And then I'm like, when I get home, I need to speak to you.
It was like my right arm was missing. Well, left me, but it was like my right arm was missing. Not being able to speak to you most of the day.
I know, it's like, I hate it. So, you're a lefty, that's funny, isn't it? I was saying, I find it so weird that all my children are left-handed. How weird is that?
And you and Adam are not?
No.
You're not left-handed, are you? Wow.
No.
Wow. That's really unusual.
I know, and Faith's got a different dad as well, so that's even more unusual because the 3 children obviously don't have the same dad. And then one of Adam's boys is a lefty, yeah. So out of 5 children that we've got between us, 4 of them are left-handed.
That is so unusual. Really unusual.
But they do say that left-handed people are supposed to be more creative. Have you ever heard that?
Lefties are the besties. Yeah, lefties are the besties.
Well, let me just shut the window because someone's just really come up the street on a motorbike. How rude. I don't know what difference that will make, but there we go.
And now you're going to melt. You're just going to be a puddle in about 5 minutes because it's going to be too warm.
We've got one beer that we've had in the fridge for weeks and weeks because we don't drink that much because Lennon gets us up in the night, although he hasn't for a little bit, which is great. So we've had this one beer looking at us for ages, and Adam said, "Can we have it?" I was like,
"Shall we?"
Yeah. So we've just shared it now before I came up.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. So then, let's get stuck into it. This week we had our first Chit Chat.
I loved the Chit Chat, didn't you?
I did. I absolutely loved it, and I was surprised how many people showed up.
I know, yeah, it was brilliant, and I loved how engaging it was as well.
Yeah,
and I loved that one of the members we don't have many international members, but one member, Jessica, she joined us from America, didn't she? And one of the book reviewers, Amy, did as well, which was lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely.
So it was nice to have her there. Yeah,
really
enjoyed it.
That worked nicely, having some reviewers on there as well. Like, it's a nice mix of people and feedback and just like what people's feelings, both as a member and a reviewer, are about what's going on. So that was really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, obviously we're going to do it every month, but so my husband was asking me, well, what kind of is it? And I was like, well, it's basically like a virtual newsletter. It's things that we want to update people on, but we're just doing it conversationally, which works nice because people have input.
They do, yeah. Instantaneous as well, isn't it? Like, it's not like a poll that's gone out. It's just we've said, what do you think there and then? So, yeah, it's great. Absolutely brilliant.
It was great. The only problem is, which we need to fess up about, we planned on recording it. We thought we were recording it, and we weren't recording it.
We transcribed it. It's a brilliant transcribe. Yeah. It's brilliant. But it's Google Meets, isn't it? And we're a bit new to it all, aren't we? Google Meets.
Yeah.
So
we'll try and brush up on it before the next one. But really sorry if anybody hopes to watch it back. We'll send out some notes, and then we'll try our best to record the next one.
They'll be very detailed notes, though.
They are. They're actually great.
Very detailed. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. Not an ad, but I am a big fan of that. Oh, that'd be great. Can you imagine if Google sponsored us?
That'd be so good. You leave your job, Hannah.
I know.
So, Hannah,
yeah,
what would you say was the top of your list for achievements this week? So many.
So many. Honestly, again. So how many weeks have we been going now? We've been going 6 weeks.
Seven-ish.
And every week there's been a mental development, hasn't there? We've achieved so much. I think for me this week would be because if I think of myself at the back end of last year and somebody told me we would be doing what we've done this week, I'd say no. So this week we had a meeting that we'd arranged with a publisher to show them the publisher hub, and they loved it.
They did. They did.
And what's even better than that, they want signing up.
So that is a really, really good publisher as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What a win.
Yeah.
Should we just, I mean, I know everybody, most people probably know what the publisher hub is, but like just do a quick summary of what it actually will involve for people, for our members.
So the publisher hub is a way that publishers can go in, a bit like the reviewer hub, and they can look on. How did he describe it? He said it was
Tinder,
like Fiverr. Well, you said Tinder, which is really inappropriate for a children's book.
Well, it's just kind of, you go, not for me, you know. But no, he said it was like Fiverr. I've never used Fiverr.
Fiverr, yeah. Said it was like Fiverr. So it's basically like little portfolios that they can sort of scroll across, and it gives them all the information there and then ready for them to look at. So it'll have your elevator pitch, which is great. What your genre is, how many words it is, whether you've got what your situation is with regards to an illustrator. Are you fully illustrated? Have you committed to an illustrator, or are you looking for an illustrator? Which, as we got talking to him throughout that call, we realised was a big deal, because they need to know, don't they, how much time is going to have to be invested in this. So that was really useful. And then what really blew him away a bit, which blows us away every time we see it, is that when you look at the full portfolio, so there's an option to go into that. So say you like the look of this person, you like that general feel of the book, then you open the full profile, gives a little bit more detail. The elevator pitch is a bit longer. The synopsis of the book is in there. And then our crown jewel is there's an intro video that authors record themselves. So they'll go, "Hello, my name is, I'm an author, and I also illustrate, or I'm an author, and I've written these books," and and just basically pitching yourself, because there's nothing better than them to get a general feel of you from the get-go, rather than kind of, sort of wondering what you like based on the written version of yourself. So, and he really loved that, didn't he? Really liked that. So that was good.
It gave some really,
I think that's what sealed it.
Yeah, totally. I think that is what sealed it. And kudos to you, because that's you've done that. It's amazing. What was really interesting when we were showing him that was, he said, and we've kind of worked it out as we've been going, but he said it's not just about the book or the illustrations, it's about the person as well. And if they can promote it and sell themselves as well, because that's just as important.
Well, that's contributed to the success, of the book, doesn't it? If the author can, it's daunting, don't get me wrong, and it's a terrifying thing.
Yeah,
but I think the more you do it, the less, worried you are doing it. So
it ties into the chat, which we'll insert soon, but I had a chat with Tom McLaughlin this morning. Tom's been writing and illustrating for years. He's got numerous children's books out under some really big publishers. But yet he still said he finds that side of it really challenging. So I think that just goes to show you that it doesn't matter if you're here or here, how much experience you've got and how successful you are, that is still a factor that A, you've got to do. Even if you're under a big publisher, you've still got to promote yourself, and B, that you still don't feel like 100% comfortable with it. It's still really difficult. So
it just makes me realise that we need he did make a really good point when he said about you don't want to just give everybody the same so they end up being the same and no one's special, no one stands out to the publisher, which I thought was a really interesting point. But I think what we're doing that's different is that we're not making people be a clone of what we think a publisher would want. We're wanting a variety of just a totally like diverse group of authors and illustrators, but giving them the tools. So, you know, how to promote yourself on Instagram, you know, how to go do a school visit, you know, so they can still be their individual selves, just better equipped to, you know, to do it. So that's what we want to do.
And don't you think, since we're on a pause with Rebel for the half term, but those who attended the social media section of the training, you can see how valuable they've found it, because it's made such a difference to the way that they're doing things. They're still being authentic. Everybody's is different, but they're definitely more confident in doing it.
Yeah, they're not carbon copies, and they're just saying following this social. Yeah, and they're not following this social media trend, you know, and everybody's jumping on it. They're just aligning with what's right with them and promoting themselves a little bit more than they would have done normally. Yeah, I'm gonna miss James, you know, for the half term, aren't you?
Yeah, I actually did think
2 weeks without Rebel.
Yeah, this week's been obviously a quiet one for us, because we'd normally speak to him and be organising the week, and we've not chatted as much this week. So yeah, it's weird.
We're missing our James fix, aren't we?
And I'm sure he's missing us.
He's probably not got as much of a headache this week not talking to us.
Oh God. Right, what else has been going on this week then? Oh, let's talk about, should we just put our Cloudberry hats on?
Oh yes.
And talk about illustrators.
Yes. So should we just explain what Cloudberry is again?
Yeah.
So Cloudberry, as if you watched the podcast last week, is our new publishing arm of ICAN. So that's exciting. And we opened to illustrators about a week ago, was it?
Yeah, about a week ago, yeah.
And then we're closing to illustrators on the 31st, just temporarily, because the response has just been crackers.
It has.
And then we're opening to book submissions on the 1st of June.
Yeah.
But just going back to the illustrators, again, they've been some absolute corkers.
They're absolutely insane.
It's amazing.
They really are. Like, I will feel, and I know you will too, so proud of any book out there that's illustrated by anyone that we've selected, because they're insane.
Yes. And we've been that eager to get going with it with the illustrators. We thought, we'll just wait, you know, so I'll wait till the 1st of June and let everything just happen all together. But the illustrators are on there already. So if you go to cloudberryink.co.uk/illustrators, you will see it's a beautiful sight to behold. Let's put it that way.
Is everybody that we've offered uploaded? Is everyone there yet, or not quite?
No, I think, let me check. I think I last checked it was 14.
Yeah, so a few more to go.
Yeah.
And the other point on that is, what we thought was, well, as we had time to review them, so we've made a commitment that regardless if you're an illustrator or an author and you submitted, you'll hear back from us within 4 weeks, because that wait is excruciating. So the quicker we can do it and put people out of the misery, I suppose is the way to put it, then that's what we're going to do, because we can make a decision and we can feed back to you. Whilst we've got the capacity to do that, that's what we're going to do. So yeah.
I've just looked. It's 12. It's 12.
Yeah, 12 so a few more that we've
yeah.
offered to, and will be uploading their profiles, but still go and have a look, because they're amazing.
And just you sort of touched on something there, about not sort of putting them out of their misery, giving them constructive feedback, championing them with them when we align with them and want to go with them. It just reminded me when I first started this book journey, I was really naive to getting an agent, really naive, and I thought, if I just write to a couple, one might pick me up. And I was really, really like,
so was I,
head in the clouds with it. And I sent my submissions off to 2. Now, if I look back, I wouldn't have hired me.
Because
and I just didn't pitch it right, knowing what I know now. I didn't pitch it right. I didn't send the best illustration. My illustrations changed massively after that because I was going down a collage type route in the beginning, and it ultimately ended up very different. And I found my style that I'm really, really happy with. So I sent that off. I sent a lovely covering. I'm very proud of my covering letter, my synopsis, which was fine. And then I didn't hear anything for, I think it was about 14 weeks. And interestingly, even though there were 2 very separate agents that I applied to, they both replied on the same day, which was really weird. And one of them just went, "No thanks." Like, that was it. No thanks. And the one, and I don't know whether to name her or not, because she is lovely, and she's very helpful on her social media about what literary agents look for. She was the loveliest. So not only did she say, she didn't say yes. She said, she sent me this, it must have been about 2 paragraphs long. Sent me, she said, whilst it's not for us, so there is an agent out there for you. Don't be disheartened. This is what I would do if I was you.
That's amazing. So I was
like, so I'm eternally grateful to her. And every time I see her pop up on my Instagram, I'm like, you are so lovely.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. It costs nothing to be kind and like give constructive feedback. They're the experts. I'm the same as you. I look at what I did submit in the first lot like a couple of years ago, and I just think, oh, what a novice. And I've learned a lot.
So on that, I'm really sorry if we're a little bit jumpy. It's our internet connection's not that great, is it? Today.
Up in once it produces it.
Yeah. So one thing that did make as an idea to have with what we want to do, is it something called a pitch sheet? Was it pitch sheet? And we're going to give people so when they do want to submit, or if we're interested in them, we'll send back a pitch sheet, so we've got everything we need there to make a decision whether we want to take them on or not. But if we don't, please don't be disheartened, because it's nothing. It's not your work. It's not your book. It's just not the right thing for us at this moment in time. That's all.
And we've got, unfortunately, at the minute, the costs were so small. We've got to be much more selective than we probably will be next year, because we can't get many done this year.
Yeah.
So we've got obviously a plan for next year, and what that will look like on volumes. But for now, we'll be able to just pick a few, but still submit, because what we might be able to do is go, right, we can schedule that for early next year.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait. I cannot wait to open the doors on that. Like, literally, I'm going to be reviewing the minute we get one. I'm going to be in there reviewing it.
Well, it's really bad timing for me, isn't it? Because I go camping.
I'm aware that we've got years off.
I'll be like with Signal.
No, it's really exciting. Is it worth just flipping back to the Publisher Hub, actually? Because that's reminded me what we did say was, and we'll share something about this, but we did say, if you feel like you need support updating your publisher pitch on the Publisher Hub, then we're going to arrange some one-to-one sessions with people that want support. How that looks, I'm not quite sure yet. Whether it's a a meeting, you know, and we're talking, whether it's email back and forth. I guess it depends on the person. Sorry, I thought someone was coming in there, but the door's just shut itself. Probably gonna have one of my children hanging around my neck then. But yeah, we'll put something out on that. I think we'll do that probably next week. Just share our thoughts on how that will look with people. But basically, if you've got an idea and you want to put it in the publisher hub and you're not sure how to sell it, because there's other bits. Obviously, there's the elevator pitch. There's other things that you need to do, not just the manuscript. Then we can help you with that.
Yeah, we can help. If it's I think we said that we would give people sort of, I don't know, 30-minute slot. But if it's anything, if it's an in-depth thing and it needs a whole rewrite, then maybe we may have to charge for our time. But it won't be because we want to do that. It's only just purely because our time is extremely precious at the minute because we've got 101 million things going on. but I think more often than not, I think we'll be able to pretty much get something helpful together within 30 minutes.
Within a half hour. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Grand. Okay, so this will probably be a good time for me to just give you an update on the chat with Tom, because you've not had a chance to watch that yet, have you?
No, you did it this morning, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was lovely. Can I just say as well, Tom, if you're watching, look what came today.
Yeah.
So we're very, very, very excited to read this. My daughter's going to love this. So can't wait to get stuck into that. So
brilliant. It's got gorgeous illustrations as well.
It's absolutely stunning. Don't
you feel like it's just like, it's so eye-catching because there's like a restricted colour palette, and that really appeals to me.
Yeah, Paul was saying that actually when I was showing him. He said he's loving the colour. I mean, at first when it says clone alone just really tickled me.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So it's very good. Yeah.
That's my first conversation with Tom. I've like commented on things, you know, on his Instagram or whatever over the years, but that's the first time I've spoken with him. And I was obviously really grateful for him giving us some time to speak. Really lovely guy. You'll hear it, you know, we'll insert it here, but I just felt like it was really, really valuable to our community because he gave some really practical insights, but also some real, I don't know, that sounds so cheesy saying real talk, but really, really honest truths about being an illustrator and an author. So I'm sure you'll all love this. So here it is. This is my interview this morning with Tom McLaughlin. I hope you enjoy.
Oh, hello, Tom.
Hiya. Morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, it's great to have you. I'm really excited. But I didn't give you the bit that I normally give people, which is P.S. I'm from Yorkshire, so you might need to adjust your ears just to get used to this northern tone.
That's all right. That's fine. I was born up in Newcastle, so I spend a lot of time in Newcastle. So I'm very adept at tuning into different accents, and I was raised in the Midlands, and then sort of ended up in the Southwest. So I'm sort of nomadically, I can kind of tune in and say, yeah, you're coming through loud and clear, so it's all good.
Oh, brilliant! That's good to know. I think it's when I talk to other northern people that it gets worse. So last week we had a lady from Leeds who is a storyteller, and by the end of it, there was so many type sounds coming on. Brilliant. Okay, so what I thought we'd do is just have a quick chat, really, and what would be really interesting for our guests, our members, is to learn a little bit about how you started out, because obviously now you're a bookshop favourite. You know, you're on the shelves and one that people aspire to be in our community. So how did it start?
Oh, blimey! That's a sort of long answer, I guess. I mean, I've always been sort of drawing, so I started out as an illustrator. I went to school. I was sort of latterly diagnosed with dyslexia, so kind of school was a sort of place of frustration for me, where I sort of, I tried, teachers would say I was sort of smart, but, didn't concentrate or lazy, those kind of things. So school for me was quite a sort of isolating place, but the thing that sort of got me was drawing. That was the thing that I was good at. So I was like, oh, I can be the kid who's really good at drawing. So I sort of, once I sort of found my thing, and it allowed me to kind of focus, and I just wanted to kind of hoover up all kinds of art, draw and copy what I saw. I was really sort of interested in kind of politics and comedy as a kid kind of growing up. So I would sort of obsessively watch Have I Got News for You or Spitting Image or any of those kind of satirical shows, kind of smart, clever shows. So I really loved sort of comedy and satire and drawing. And I eventually sort of ended up at art college down in Cornwall, down in Falmouth, and I got a job as a political cartoonist. I was super lucky that a newspaper, the Western Morning News down in the southwest, were relaunching in tabloid format. They were looking for a cartoonist, and they just sort of sent out the sort of message to all the kind of local art colleges and art schools. And I was the only one sort of doing that thing. In my year group, everyone else was kind of, there was, picture book illustrators and fantasy illustrators, but I was obsessed with kind of caricatures and jokes and things like that. So that's how I kind of started professionally as a kind of artist and a sort of writer, although I never thought of myself as a writer at the time, but I was obviously creating jokes and writing jokes and doing cartoons. And so I did that for about 10 years. And then, like all sort of local newspapers, the readership dried up and it starts to go online, and it felt like the sort of, the end of that kind of world. So I was looking to move on. And I sort of thought about children's books, but because I was kind of like, well, I'm not very good at spelling, I'm not very good at writing or reading, therefore I can't be a writer, which is because, looking back on it, you kind of think that's nonsense. But I guess I just sort of had no confidence. Even as a kind of adult, kind of drawing and writing jokes, I would make spelling mistakes and things like that. It would be a huge kind of source of frustration. But I sort of basically started to bring my characters to life. I had sketchbooks and things like that, and I was so sick of watching the news, because I had to watch the news all the time and come up with jokes about prime ministers and politicians, but there was no kind of longevity in that work. It was great because you sort of get up in the morning, didn't know what you can draw, then you go in and sort of scoop up all the stories, see where the kind of narratives of the news were going, then get the cartoon down, then you sort of be done. But there was no kind of, you couldn't build up any kind of story or work over a few days or a few weeks. So I just started to kind of send out ideas. And then I ended up, this is a very long answer, but I'm carrying on. I ended up winning an animation bursary, because I obviously was, there was a local animation company who were looking for sort of interested writers and illustrators who didn't have an animation background. Obviously, I'd sort of written short stories and done little illustrations, and then that got turned into a little animation, and they came to me and said, "Have you got any other ideas? We really like your style." And this was at the sort of stage where I was sending work out to various literary agents and wasn't really getting anywhere. And then, there was a contact for this animation company at the BBC, and they were looking for some ideas. And it was basically, we ended up pitching one of my ideas to the BBC. And it was at this point I was like, I think I need a TV agent as well. And somebody suggested a particular TV agent who also had a kind of literary agent attached. So I ended up getting a kind of TV agent and a literary agent at the same time, which was really good, because I was sort of trying to write books, not getting anywhere, trying to write stories, not getting anywhere. The TV stuff seemed to be bubbling along, since which nothing really has happened in the TV world, but it sort of got me a literary agent at the same time. And then, they're the sort of, I'm sure you all know this, the kind of gatekeepers. Once you have an agent, it sort of opens so many doors. And the people who I was emailing and sending stories to within the publishing world, who I was never hearing back from, or they were put me on file, then I was having meetings with them, because I had an agent, and she was sort of, it's a sort of seal of approval almost, isn't it? So I was kind of super lucky, but that was a kind of 4 or 5 year journey to go from kind of, you know, that moment where you go, I'm going to sort of try the book thing, to actually getting an agent and stuff happening.
That's really interesting, actually, because I think, especially with social media, people just see successful people and think, oh, boo-hoo, look how they've done that. And actually, they don't see the backstory behind that's taken a number of years to achieve.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a sort of element of kind of just the attrition of it all. You know, I always think of it as, you know, if you start a race with 10 people, and you know everyone wants to be a writer and an illustrator, and you're sending stuff out, and then, you know, there's the rejection letter, and you know, after a couple of rejections, then 2 or 3 people kind of drop out. There's an element of just keep on going, which is really
100%.
difficult. It's not easy to kind of go, well, I've been rejected again, or I've got one editor saying, oh, why don't you try this? Maybe if you take this story in this direction, another editor saying, take it in this direction. You're like, well, which one?
Yeah.
You know, to keep on going and not to get too dispirited. I think there is something to, you know, just the longevity of being in the game. Eventually,
definitely,
something happens.
It is, and it's a matter, like, I bang on about mindset quite a lot, because I find that it's not, I don't think it's natural in my mindset, but it's one I've adapted as I've got older, is that, like, it just move on, next thing, you know. If it's not going to be, I'm maybe 30 queries in, right? I've been doing it for about 18 months. I'm in conversations with somebody at the moment, but that's taken a lot of no's or silence, and it doesn't necessarily even mean it's going there. So I think that having that kind of, like, persevering mindset is, like, desperately needed to be able to move forward in this. Like you say, otherwise it's just a no. Oh well, back to the drawing board for me.
Yeah,
So,
and it's really difficult not to take criticism personally, because it's, you know, because it's a personal thing, and you love it and you care about it so much. So somebody kind of going, oh, it's a no from me, you kind of go, why am I putting myself through this? But then you, like, and you know, even the very successful authors, when they submit stuff and they get a load of notes back, and they kind of go, oh, they don't like that story idea, everyone feels that kind of 2 days of sort of moping around, and then you kind of go, well, okay, we've got it out of our system now, we kind of go again. But you know, that's not easy when you've got, like, family to support, or you know, mental health wise, you can be like, why am I putting myself through this? Is this ever going to happen? You know, I used to love writing stories for the joy of writing stories, and now it seems to be sort of something that's, you know, it's taking away more than it's giving me at the minute. But
no, I totally
you know,
totally get that. Yeah, I think, and also picking up on something else you mentioned earlier. So, quite like yourself, I struggle a lot with spelling. So I have ADHD, and I think that my brain moving faster than my analytical side sometimes makes me make mistakes. And for a long time, I thought that meant that I'm not articulate enough to be able to call myself an author. But actually, I think part of what we're trying to achieve in the community that we're building is saying, you know, that shouldn't prevent you having, you know, some sort of ADHD, autism, dyslexia, anything doesn't prevent you from making the output. It might mean that you've got barriers or things that you have to go around, but actually, I think it helps with your creativity. I just need a spell checker.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the process is different for everyone. So some people, you know, I know some people who are really funny, interesting people who can really good at stringing an anecdote together, but they're not writers. That's not, you know, it doesn't make them a good writer. And conversely, you know, like, being not feeling articulate in the moment, or feeling a bit kind of, the words get stuck in your mouth, doesn't mean to say that you can't be a fantastic storyteller. It's just the process that you go through in order to make your story is different for another person and from everyone.
Yeah, definitely. So do you reflect your difficulties growing up with dyslexia present themselves in the books that you write? Do you home in on that?
Sometimes I've written one book. I wrote a picture book called The Story Machine, and it was about a boy who found a typewriter, and he started to kind of write stories, but didn't get the words to say what he wanted to say, and then he'd get frustrated and cross, and then he started to use the typewriter. He'd like play it like a piano, and instead of using the letters to write stories, he would use the letters to make pictures, because you can tell stories with pictures. You don't always need words, was the kind of message in the book. So that's the sort of only time I've really used it in my writing in terms of sort of books. But I do sort of an awful lot of school visits, so I talk about it a lot with kids, because I do primary schools a lot, and I think it's really important for all kids, but particularly boys, to see a male on stage who's kind of going, I'm not really good at words. They all get stuck and a bit jumbled up, but that's just the mechanics of writing. That's nothing to do with storytelling. That's about creativity. It's about making people laugh. It's about all these kind of things. So it's really important message that I sort of put out there. My daughter's just been diagnosed with dyslexia as well, so it's kind of it's a thing that we can sort of talk about, and how it affects her is it might be different to how it affects me. So in terms of kind of books, I've never really sort of lent into it much, but I've in talking to children, talking to classes, I talk about it a lot, because I think it's an important message to hear.
Sure.
Not just if you are dyslexic, you might just be like, I don't feel very good with words. I feel a bit clunky with words. And I think kids are really, they write themselves off really quickly. And I did this, and you kind of go, well, I can't draw. I'm not good at football. I'm not that person. I'm not that person. And it all comes at different stages and at different times. And just because you find that bit difficult doesn't mean to say that you can't ever do anything with words or stories or anything like that.
Yeah, totally. I'm so on board with that. It's actually one of my next book is about a little boy based on my own son, who he really throws the towel in quickly and writes himself off. He's great with numbers, but anything else he just sees it as too much of a challenge, right? So my next book that's coming out in July is called Persevering Perry, and it's on that theme about nobody can do anything the first time they try it, so it's just about keeping going. And I feel like that's the same message that we're trying to relay to our members. One of the first workshops that we've done with them has been hosted by the Rebel Reading Society. I don't know if have you come across Rebel?
I know them from the socials. That's what you say, isn't it? Yeah.
So Rebel's run by James, who is an ex-headmaster, and his frustration was that authors weren't getting into schools, so children weren't getting that message and weren't being empowered face to face and seeing the joy and the beauty of it, and it's basically a gateway into reading. So he's been hosting some sessions for our members, they've been brilliant, because you can see the confidence growing in people. I was a bit nonchalant with school visits because, I've always had a corporate career, but I took a career break and ended up doing compliance in a private school. So, don't know, it was a weird one, did it for a year. But it gave me an insight into the inner workings of school. So when it came to doing my readings, I wasn't particularly nervous about it. And I hadn't considered that other people would be. So as an author-illustrator, how important is that connection and going and doing those school visits, do you think?
It's hugely important, and I was the kind of opposite of you. I think I was sort of the idea that you kind of you go and do the book thing, and you stay at home and you draw the pictures, and it's all great, and then you're like, oh, you've got to go and be a performer now, and it's like, whoa, I didn't know this was part of the deal. And for years and years and years, it would like sleepless nights the nights before. Like I remember going to read a book in my son's class, and I was like, I didn't sleep for a couple of nights before. So the idea of standing up, and this again comes back from the fact that my dyslexia, I really struggle to read. That's the biggest hurdle, and how it sort of presents itself. Even picture books that I've written, writing a book is much easier than reading a book to me. So I would just get so kind of het up about it, and then you kind of go, well, if you're going to go and read a book, then you just basically got to learn the bit that you're going to read. So you're there, but you're going with the flow. And now, after years and years and years of doing it, it's all fine now. I get used to it. So yeah, sort of the idea of reading in front of a class is really stressful. The idea of sitting down, plugging in my iPad on the big whiteboard behind me, and drawing in front of a class, that's fine. I could do that all day. It's great. So once you kind of get over that bit of it, and I think there's a lot of authors who really struggle with the idea of being performers as well. Some are great, some are just kind of take to it really easily. It's such an important thing to do, and it's such an important thing to be in a school and to connect with kids, and hopefully with schools and teachers too. You obviously I get it's a bugbear of mine, but you're doing your thing, and you do see sort of teachers. I'm going to do some marking now that Tom's on. I'm basically I don't have to do power control or be present in the lesson. I'm just going to do some more. You could use so much of this. There's so much 100%. That I'm sort of using. You've got to be engaged with the kids. I know that sort of teachers, there's a lot on their plate and they have to make it all work. But yeah, that's my biggest sort of issue with school visits is the fact that teachers on their phone or teachers marking or not being present kind of winds me up a little bit. But
completely agree. I've had the same experience a number of times.
Yeah. I mean, 9 times out of 10 the schools are great and everything's fine and it's brilliant and it all works well, but those times where you're just like, oh, just please, because I'm not a teacher. I'm not here to kind of I tell children off or stop them doing that. I just want them to engage, but it's important that everyone, including teachers and kids, are all kind of present during the session. So that's the only sort of minor issue I have with school visits.
I think it's one thing that I kind of take from it, because I've got a grown-up child, but I've also got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I've become a little bit immune to the hilariousness of children. But what I always say to people who are going into schools is you come out of there with the biggest smile on, even if you go in feeling flustered. The joy, the randomness that they give you when you leave, it's so worth it.
Oh yeah, like I do occasionally, because I'm sort of lucky that I get to do sort of picture books and chapter books. So basically I do all key stage 1 and key stage 2. But the best bits is I sort of try and find 10, 15 minutes just to go into reception and read them a story, and they're just kind of hilarious. The things they say, and they're sort of looking at you like you're an alien from outer space, like, what's going on here? Or somebody will just get up and walk over there, and it's just brilliant. But it keeps you on your toes.
It does, and it makes it worth it. It really does. So in terms of your illustration then, obviously you've done your political illustrations, so you will have developed a style whilst doing that. Do you feel like you've got a style, or is everything different?
Don't know. I don't know if I've got a style. So the stuff I'm doing at the minute, I haven't done a picture book for a couple of years, which a picture book is kind of different stuff. So the minute I'm sort of doing comic book stuff, and sort of chapter book stuff. So yeah, that tends to be the kind of similar-ish to kind of the political cartooning, in that I would be using the iPad version of a kind of dip pen to do it. So those kind of scratchy comic book pens, which is how I kind of started. Obviously, when I started, we all used to draw on paper and things like that. But now it's all sort of iPads, and I just love drawing the iPad because it's always there. It's great. I love being able to draw. I love being able to kind of plug it into a school, because it's fantastic for some kids. Like seeing the technology of it all and seeing what you can do with it all is kind of like they're in, rather than just drawing on a flip chart. They kind of, my iPad can do this. Just not just YouTube. So yeah, I don't know. In terms of kind of the stuff I'm doing in the minute, which is basically sort of comic book stuff, for the last couple of years, it's kind of that style. So I don't know. I don't know if I have a style or not. I don't tend to look at other people's work. I used to do this a lot. I would go and have a look and see what was happening in the world of picture books and Waterstones, or I'd sort of go down a Pinterest rabbit hole and kind of, oh, that's nice, and you end up kind of borrowing a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and I kind of sort of lost myself a little bit in kind of trying to sort of, oh, I really like that thing, I can do that thing, and then so I think I try and sort of shut out a lot of illustration, just kind of draw what I want to draw. Whether that means it's a style or not, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel I'm still on that journey because I illustrated my first book by accident, really, if I'm honest. I've always loved art. I did graphic design at my A-levels. I then went off and started a career that was nothing to do with being creative. And when I wrote my book, the publisher said, do you want to, I did some like dummy illustrations that'll look a bit like this, this and this. And they said, oh, that's great. Do you want to have a go? So I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. And I'm really proud that I did, but it's so rudimentary. And I look back at it and I think, ugh. But I'm really proud because it was the first time I've done it. And there's I could see the evolution in my work. But and that's such a good point around when you look at others and you kind of almost unconsciously might sort of pick up bits and bobs and develop that way. That's really interesting. I think I do quite a lot of, should we call it market research, just because my boys are at picture book age and that's what I enjoy. So I think, would you say that that's a good thing for people to do, to be out there seeing what's on the table, or to be sort of doing their own thing?
I think you can end up sort of, I've done this before, sort of, trying to pitch various book ideas, and you can kind of go and see what's out there, and you end up kind of, it can be a little bit formulaic, because you kind of go, well, this is a thing that's working now, and that's everyone likes dinosaurs and pirates. Let's put pirates in the land of dinosaurs, or let's put a dinosaur and a pirate. But do you know what I mean? And then so I've gone down that route before, and it probably does work for other people. For me, I got a little bit like, I'm just trying to write other people's books that are already out there, and you're kind of like, well, that sort of exists. So I mean, the sort of thing I say to kids, and it still kind of holds true for me, is that I sort of try and write the book that I would love to read as a kid, and I think that's a sort of thing. Maybe it's because I'm a big kid, so I imagine that either the book I'm writing is the thing that I would want to read, or the kind of the new Steven Spielberg movie. And I kind of like, I'm sort of writing a movie in my head, and that's what I want to watch, that's what I want to read. So yeah, I think market research is good and fine, but you can also I've been trapped in the sort of pendulum of kind of styles and what's kind of in at the minute, and you're like, you'll talk to an agent, they go, well, sort of, scare is in. Okay, well, I'll come up with a load of ideas for scary, and then sort of 6 to 9 months later, that pendulum swung somewhere else. Now we're on sci-fi. What are you doing scary? We're all on sci-fi. Come and join us over here on sci-fi. Okay, well, I'll just set that bit in space or something. Do you know what I mean? And you sort of end up chasing and never quite alighting on the place before everyone else arrives. So I think there is an element of just kind of just wanting to do your own thing. It's got to ultimately please you first and foremost, hasn't it, rather than anyone else? So, and I think if you end up kind of being writing for a particular market or for this, then you can sort of get a little bit lost.
Yeah, and I think it's so much easier to back and promote your work if it's something that you that has heart and you believe in. I think that's something that I don't think people realise when you're outwardly looking at authors and illustrators, that you have to do so much self-promotion. I did not have a clue that you had to be banging your own drum as much as I am doing. Do you find that component difficult?
I mean, it's good when you are an illustrator, right? Because you've got extra elements that you can kind of put on social media or stuff rather than just sort of reading a story. You can do a drawing, you can do a sort of, I don't know how you work, whether you're using iPads or things like that. You can do that time lapse thing. Have you seen the time lapse thing? So every drawing that you record, kind of, you can see all the bits that you got wrong. Yeah. So I'm, in terms of that, I'm fairly kind of used to it. But you know, when you do get a book published, sometimes there might only be sort of, you know, they'll put out one Instagram post or a one tweet, and that's it. That's their sort of marketing budget gone, and then you're having to, you go, oh, well, that was quite a lot of work for not a lot of output. So yeah, there is an awful lot of self-promotion. I think, you know, there is an element of, like, it'd be great to be a published author, but you know, in the published authoring world, everyone's kind of going, well, that person's got far more success. Why are they getting a poster on the tube, and I'm not getting a poster? So you know, it's as everyone feels quite like everyone is getting a better slice of the pie, even in the publishing world. You know, everyone's doing better. Oh, I wish I was a bit more successful. Why are we doing this to ourselves? I don't know. Exactly. Talking myself out of a job.
But that's such a valuable insight for people who are maybe at the start of the career or are hammering the queries. Like, it's not just one book under a big publisher and you've done it and you've made it. It's an ongoing permanence that you have to promote yourself and be shouting about it.
Yeah.
So you've got to have the stamina for that, I think, as well.
Yeah, and it comes back to that thing of, you know, having to be an entertainer. And some people find that very easy. Some find that very difficult. Some people, you know, the idea of kind of talking about yourself on social media, for a lot of people, that's really cringe. And they hate it because it's not just, you know, I'm talking about this thing, it's talking about this thing I've made. And it's like, you feel like, oh, it's like when you have to write your own bio, right? Whenever you have to write your own bio and you have to write it in the third person, Tom did this and Tom has done that. You just feel like you sort of want to jump off the bridge. You just feel so uncomfortable. It's weird. So self-promotion is, you know, can be very difficult. It's finding new and interesting ways to do it that you're happy with. But social media is a huge part of being an author. It's, you know, as much about writing the story. It's kind of, writing the story is one part of the process, but then, you know, that bit takes that long, and then while the book's out there, it's huge, and you've got to then do all that sort of stuff, and then talk about it, and try and sell it, and sell yourself as well. It can be really hard work.
Really tough, yeah, it is, and also to be genuinely unique is like, you know, you can see people doing things and you think that feels so wooden, but I understand why you're doing it. Like I'm just a real clumsy and blunderous person, and I think that comes across in everything that I do. And I just think there's no point in trying to manicure a version of myself, because that's not who I am. I'm this person. How successful that is for me, I don't really know, but I just think, like, I don't know if it is moving away from it a little bit on social media, but you see so much aesthetic, you know, and like it's kind of, for me, outwardly looking, I think, oh, I'd love to be that perfect and marvelous, but I'm genuinely not. So I'm going to sell my book in this way, and this is what works for me. And I think once people do lean into themselves, it becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think you've got to be comfortable in your own skin and sort of realise it's a huge kind of part of the game, but how you do it and how you choose to do it, there's so many different ways to do it. But we all feel a little bit like, oh no, I've got to talk about myself and read some stuff. And it never doesn't feel a bit weird. Maybe for the young TikTok kids, it's all, you know, it's all fine. But for me, I'm quite old. I'm just kind of like, oh no, I've got to. No, not that angle. Where's the angle that looks good? No, that I can see too much shiny forehead there, too many chins there. Like really far away, maybe that'll work.
Yeah, no, it's a tough part of the job. Are your kids impressed? Do they understand, and do they know what you do?
Yes, they do. I've got 5 children, that's far too many children. Nobody should have that
I'm in the
many
same
children.
boat. I've got 3 and a few stepchildren, so.
There we go. It's yeah. God love them, but what was I thinking? Anyway, so yeah, so I've got 2 very old up grown up boys, and then sort of little ones. Molly's what, she 9, and she knows what I do. I remember I went into her school, I sort of as a surprise. I was like, hey, you never guess what's World Book Week. You never guess where I'm coming in. Because she was feeling a bit sad, in a bit of a bad mood. So this was my way of cheering her up. I'm coming into your school to do some reading and drawing. Oh my word, she was absolutely livid, furious, angry, upset, like to the point where I was like, I think I might have to not do this event, because she was so keyed up about it. It was all fine in the end. It was all fine in the end, and I think she sort of quite liked it. But yeah, so maybe not that aspect of it, but I think she likes what I do, and I show her the new books. And there's a new Alan King of the Universe book coming out, and I've got some drawings, or she's the first person to read it. She really likes the comic book stuff. The older boys really liked it as well, I think. And they get to appear in books, and my 18-year-old is at uni doing animation, and so he's writing stories, and he's coming up with drawings and images and things like that. So he's sort of doing what I'm doing in a different way, which is really nice. I get to kind of see his world and how his mind works. So yeah, the kids do like it. I've got 2 little ones, and yeah, I think they're a little bit too young to kind of figure it all out yet. But I'm sure they'll. Well, no, of course they'll be embarrassed if I go into their school. That's what it should be like,
I went
right?
to my son's nursery, and it ended. He's preschooler, so he'll be starting school in September, and it was the worst idea I've had, because he just cried the whole time, and then cried when I left. So I just thought, won't do that one again.
Yeah, I know. You think it's going to be this magical moment, don't you? This sort of TV moment where they'll remember it in 30 years' time, and actually all you're doing is just confusing them, and they're a little bit scared and embarrassed. And it's like, oh, okay,
yeah. So I won't do that one again. So I guess my last question for you, which I've asked everyone so far, is there a book that you either inspired you as a child, or that you go back to with your children? Is there a particular book that you love?
So the book I sort of got really into was the Secret Diary of Adrian Mole. I think it was the 2 or 3 books, because I would struggle to read, but this one got me, and I read all the way through, and I was really proud. It's like, yeah, I've read an actual book, and then I kept reading it and rereading it, which I always think, kids kind of like the idea of, you get sort of various challenges, don't you, for kids, where they have to read so many books over a sort of summer holiday or something like that, and you kind of go, well, this is sort of, are we just reading books to kind of tick them off something, or are we kind of really enjoying books and kind of going, I really love that one, I'm going to read it again, like the way you would listen to a piece of music again, or rewatch a film. You kind of like, I love going back and sort of rereading books and finding more stuff in them. So Asian Mole was one for me, because it was kind of, it was sort of funny. It was kind of real. I think it was set in the Midlands as well, wasn't it? And also there was a TV show. So I found it that kind of, it kind of got me as a kind of, like, it's, his books can be funny and smart and clever and all these kind of things. I've never read it to my kids. I don't know if it's sort of how well it would have aged. They're a little bit little.
Not sure, actually.
And also it's a bit of a sort of, it's quite an older book, so the only way they will be getting it is kind of when they're sort of 13 or 14, and you're not really reading to your kids at that age. So yeah, that was kind of a sort of a moment for me. Obviously, sort of things like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Great Glass Elevator, just funny books, and I sort of that was my key, because I loved things that made me laugh.
Yes,
and you know, that's why I'm mostly writing comedy now, so it's always kind of stayed with me. So yeah, I would have to say Adrian Moore by Sue Townsend.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I really have enjoyed that.
No worries. I hope I haven't made everyone feel slightly sort of disillusioned, but you know, I think it's
this is the whole thing that I keep, and the purpose of the community that we've built is to throw some realism on it, right? It's not the shiny glossy thing that you think it is, and if you do, you're probably not on the right path. Like, you have to have a realistic mindset with it.
Yeah, nothing worthwhile comes straight away. Like, if you do something first time, then that's not the real world. It's not actually a great challenge.
Yeah.
You know, being a writer and doing the thing that you love and trying to earn a living out of it is really hard work. And whether that's you're, you know, on the road to being published or after being published, it doesn't really change that sort of the weird mixture of kind of insecurity and anxiety, but also sort of love of the world and love of kind of telling stories. It's what, you know, stories are as strange and beautiful and complicated as we're all strange and beautiful and complicated, right?
Perfect. Absolutely. What a great way to end.
That conversation does look really amazing, so I'm going to go watch that later with a glass of wine.
Yeah, you can have you get the premiere.
Yes. Also, as well, can I just say, you know, when I was showing Tom's amazing book, and I think we're gonna go and get some more of Tom's books, looking at this one, but I just wanted to highlight one of our members that I went and bought this because I was just so intrigued by it, and it's the kind of book that Neva really likes. It's really her sense of humour, and it's Chris McGuire's Crooks and Nannies.
Love it.
And we've just started reading it and we are howling.
Oh, brilliant.
It's absolutely brilliant. So, Chris, you have a new fan with my daughter. She absolutely loves it. And we can't wait to get more of your books. You go to his Instagram because he does the most hilarious reels as well.
Yeah,
usually involving slime.
His social media is really, really good, isn't it? I'm a bit sad we're not at that genre of book yet in our house. We're still obviously at the picture book stage, and I think we will be for a while. But my nephew they'll be right up the street. I have recommended both of those books to them, actually.
Yeah.
So,
definitely get those two. They are really good. So Neva was big into anything Lauren Child from being very, very small. So she started with Charlie and Lola, obsessed with Charlie and Lola, and then we moved on to Clarice Bean. The Clarice Bean is great. It's another brilliant one. And then as she's got a little bit older, I think when she got to like 10, 11, she liked the Ruby Redfort series. So there are some there that grow with your child as well. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving this stage of and we're in a really, really privileged position because we see these books coming in, don't we? So we're like every time they come in or an author comes in, I'm like, yeah, clock that one.
Yeah.
So I'll try and buy from the website if I can, because unless I need it really urgently, only will I use Amazon. But I like to try and look at the website or Waterstones or just somewhere where, you know, the book can be noticed a bit more than Amazon.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, actually, when we're doing all of this. So same for me, if I'm buying one of our members' books, I will always automatically go through them as my first option, rather than the old Jeff Bezos.
There's on.
Brilliant. Right, so coming up next week then, next week we're speaking with Sian, Bennett. I'm so looking forward to that. I mentioned Sian in last week's podcast, but if you do get a chance, go and check both her personal page out and her podcast page. She's just put on a story, which is so dreamy. I love listening to her conversations on there.
She's so lovely to listen to, isn't she? Yeah.
She said to me when we were chatting about her coming on this, she's like, "Oh, I've never been on that side of. I've not been interviewed before, so that'll be interesting." So I'm really looking forward to speaking with Sian. That'll be great.
And Sian interviewed one of our members, didn't she?
She did.
Was it Andy?
Yeah.
It was Andy, wasn't it?
It was. Giving himself a personal mission of redoing all of the text in his comics. He's now doing them all freehand, so he started right from the beginning. What a grueling task and a labour of love that is, but it looks really good.
He's so clever. He's just so talented in his videos. Yeah. I'm like, I love watching them.
Yeah,
so, that was a lovely interview, by the way, wasn't it, with Sian?
It was a great interview.
That was
definitely watch that if you've not seen it. One more thing before we on to next week that we've not spoken about is Paul's I Can Ask.
Oh yes,
have we?
It's 3 for 3. We've mentioned Paul Wilson.
I know.
3 for 3. We're just obsessed. We're obsessed. We are.
You're gonna have to give us that £20 note now, Paul. Come on.
Got the premium advertising package.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. So obviously we download the files and prepare the clips for the I Can Ask, and you downloaded them to send to me, didn't you? And you're just like, you need to stop what you're doing and watch this.
Just stop everything and just watch this video. Yeah. It's just brilliant, and it's gone really well, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah. I'll link it below.
Yeah, do. That's a great idea. Yeah. Okay, so interview with Sian next week. Submissions open on the 1st. When's that? Oh, yeah, so probably before we next speak. No, I'm running away with myself. I've got one more week and then submissions will open.
Oh, that's another thing about timescales, Hannah, did we mention the logo competition for Litfest?
No. So that's happening next week, and so 20. So yeah.
We've left it open a little bit longer, which we're really pleased about because we got a few more submissions in, which it doesn't help us because they're all really good.
So good.
So I don't know what we're going to do.
One more person that's told me that they're submitting that we've not seen yet, so I'll give that person. I'll just check that they're still planning on doing it. It shuts on the 23rd, so this podcast will go out after that. And then we were going to be judging them ourselves, but we've decided
we can't do that. It's impossible.
It's too hard. So we need Paul and some backup. So
Sarah and Kathy have got the unenviable tasks.
Yeah.
And whoever else we're roping.
I honestly, I mean, the cat will be out the bag probably by the time this goes out, but I just don't think we can pick. I don't think we'll end up picking just one person. I think we'll have one logo, but there's so many illustrations that I just think we'll want to have more than one of them.
And I think if there's any that we don't use, they're too good to go to waste. So I feel like we need to do some kind of big promo for them on social media, just
I agree.
Highlighting how good they were, and just get it out there for them as well that didn't get chosen. They're
so talented and so different, all of them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, well, that's this week in a nutshell. We've kept it right to start. Don't know. Will we ever get
getting a little bit more? No, I think no. That's a bit too much to ask at this point. Maybe ask us again in about 18 months.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know. Add comments if you enjoyed it, and let us know what you want. If you think there's something else we could be talking about or covering, give us a steer. Also, if you're remembering, think I want to go on that podcast, also let us know, because we'd love to invite some of you on.
We would love to interview you beauties of members. Yeah,
we really would. So brilliant. That's it.
Yeah, it's great to see you all.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.